We got a great day today. Another one, another great weather day. And speaking of a great weather day, Brett is going to join us. Brett Waltz with Bam Weather is going to join us and talk to us a little bit about the weather. And so, yeah, looking forward to him hopping on with us today. But it is Friday, April 17th. Can you all believe it? I hope everybody survived April 15th. Barely, but I'll tell you what, man, my hand hurts. My hand hurts, to say the least. But hey, give and take. That's the penalty for making a profit. And hey, that's all right though. Beats the alternative. And that hey, all joking aside, reinvestment into your company and all that. We're not going to talk about that today, but yeah, that's it's good to have those profit dollars for that reinvestment and all those things that we do. And we try to find a pathway to the least amount of dollars that we're going to actually give the federal government, and a lot of that is reinvestment and whatnot into our companies. So yeah, we WLS was fortunate enough to do some really good reinvestment at the end of last year and in the fall and whatnot. So that's what it's all about. But hey, we're not going to talk about that today. We're not going to talk about that today, but I did just want to make sure everybody was feeling okay about getting through another year and then another tax year. So, and now if you're on a different fiscal year versus calendar year, then maybe you're thinking like, dude, I ain't even got to worry about this for another 3 months or whatever. So that's the case. Congratulations. Congratulations. So you probably hadn't been on the porch or deck or having this little celebratory libation as the 15th hits. Kyle sent me a picture of him sitting on his deck the other night with a drink. And yeah, so hey, it is what it is. If you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take it? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about taking that opportunity today and how what that opportunity looks like. But before we get into that, man, I want to give my buddies a big shout out. Evan and Greg, Turf Nerds, this morning had a gentleman on from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which actually been there. Yes, indeedy. Been there. Not too many cities across the United States I hadn't been to and talked to contractors. But yeah, he had a neat guy on his show there that was a full service contractor. So shout out to them for another great show. Eric and Jennifer were on. Daniel with the Pump Station and Fun Fact Friday. So, oh man, it's fun to follow those guys, man. Because they just lay the foundation. They lay. They lay. Thank you, my goodness. Spit it out, and that's on no alcohol, man, or no juice, or no orange juice, or not three things of caffeine this morning. Just rocking and rolling, having a good day. Having a good day because I'm on with you guys, man, and looking forward to having a great show. Appreciate you guys being with me today. Happy Friday to you, Seth. Yes, indeedy. Seth says life's a beach and he's just playing in the sand. So I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Hope everybody's week's going good. We saw some hot air balloons. We got a big festival kicking off the Thunder over Louisville tomorrow. And they had a few balloons go up. It wasn't our balloon race or balloon glow or anything like that. That's actually next week. But we did see a few balloons up in the sky this morning, hot air balloons. And yeah, looking forward to our air show tomorrow. Tabitha was really funny this morning, man. We were getting ready for work, and she was. They were talking about the balloon. They were talking to some of the balloon pilots and how they were going to take a little ride this morning. And so I roll into the bathroom and get the brush of my teeth and come back out and that whole thing a few minutes later. And she says, "You're not going to believe what they just said." I said, "What's that?" She said, "When the balloons go up, some of the planes that are going to be in the air show are going to use the balloons for an obstacle course to fly through." And I'm like, no way. I'm like, oh my God, I feel sorry for the people on the ground. But she was just pulling a fast one, going to see if I was going to go for it. But that was a pretty good one, Tabitha. If you're listening, she's traveling up to Frankfurt this morning to on her job part two that she does. Hell, most of us do have a couple things we do, right? To make ends meet. That's the reality of it. We got the WLS, we got Profits Unlimited. So, most of you guys are doing more than one thing. Tabitha does too. She's got a really great job that she enjoys, and then she's got a little podiatrist or podiatry, but the company, pedicure she calls it. Yeah, there we go. For people for trimming their toenails for them, for people that either don't want to, number one, or can't. So and she's in long-term care and does works in that field and's been a nurse for 30 plus years and one of the certifications she has is this isn't what they call it, but for the trim toenails for diabetic people. I don't know it's got a real fancy name, but so anyway, she works with some podiatrist offices and they refer people her way. And she was going up to Frankfurt today to do a little toe trimming for some people. So she's met some neat people doing that. She started that, I don't know, about a year ago, maybe year and a half ago. Does it sound about right, Katie? About a year and a half ago, maybe something like that. But anyway, so yeah, she's doing that. So hopefully you're into something fun today. Hope your all's week's going good. If you're in our region of the country, it should be. I mean, we've had good weather all week. We were able to get a ton of work accomplished this week. A lot of people happy on weeds dying because we were able to get a lot of lawns treated and a lot of several landscapes, completed for people, and not to mention our regular mowing. And I want to give our crews a big shout out for busting it hard all week this week. And but I mean, they work hard every week, but you get a solid week with no rain virtually, and you just get on a good roll on doing things. And big shout out to two of our new guys that we hired that they've been with us now a few weeks, and everything's going good, and they're doing a great job for us. We appreciate that as well. So again, hopefully everybody's having a good week like we are. And if you're not, just remember to get better. It does and will get better. But looking forward to a big weekend around here as well. Like I said, tonight, Katie and I and Alyssa and maybe Tabitha might be going to watch our AAA affiliate baseball team play baseball. It's going to be a really nice night to be down there at the Bats Stadium. They're called the Bats, the Louisville Bats, Cincinnati affiliate. But that looking forward to that. That'll be fun. Be our first trip or my first trip. I don't know if Katie's been down yet, but we've got season tickets to that. And, be my first trip down there, and look forward to it. And everything will be getting ready. It's right down there on the waterfront, so we'll be able to take a gander around and see what's going on the waterfront as we're creeping in on Derby and the events, and more importantly, Thunder that they're setting up for down there, which is tomorrow. Big old fireworks and air show, and that's what we want to talk to Brett about. See what he thought our chances of what that looks like on getting that in. So looking forward to that as well. So with that being said, we're going to take a short break. And we'll be right back with more Profit Time. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Speak of the devil, there he is. Let's go ahead and take Brett's call right now. Brett, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Wayne. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you after I hear from you. Fair enough. No, we're doing good, man. Everything's great. You guys have sent us some really nice weather all week, so we certainly appreciate that, buddy. So we've had a good
Yeah,
production
it,
week.
it has been a beautiful week down across the lower Ohio Valley. It's been equally as active further to the north this week.
Yeah, I saw we're like up what northern Illinois, and you were talking about this last time you were on about potentially some bad weather. and it
Yeah,
looks like those guys had it.
they have had it, and they've got more this afternoon and evening. Another wave of severe weather, probably more tornadoes, large hail, damaging wind gusts, northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and southern Wisconsin this afternoon and this evening.
My goodness. So, I mean, I hate that they're in the sweet spot of that, but I guess it's somewhere, right? I mean,
Yeah, it is. It's been up there all week long. I mean, trying to remember, I feel like this is the fifth day in a row. Yesterday, not so much, but outside of yesterday, 4 to 5 days this week that they've had some kind of heavy rain, severe weather risk. It won't be as heavy rain wise today because the cold front finally sweeps through, but some of those areas up there have had 4 to 6 inches of rain over the past 7 days.
my goodness. Would it stall out up there or what happened? With that kind of weather,
Yeah,
normally something moves through, doesn't it?
most of the time, yeah. But we had a stationary boundary up there, and a lot of it actually related to the big area of high pressure in the southeastern part of the country. That high pressure stuff there, making it hard for fronts to sweep south and east, and sometimes when that sets up, you get stalled out boundaries across the Midwest. It's very far north in this particular situation, and with it not moving, they've just had these persistent heavy rain and storm risks.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that, on the news and some posts that guys have put on Facebook on some damage, and you're like, man. And this one play, I can't remember where it was, but they showed this lake where they were getting like baseball size hail, and it was crazy watching this big hail hit, just hit the lake. It
Yeah.
wasn't, just this. I don't think I've ever experienced anything that big. We this goes back a lot of years here, Brett, but it was actually a little south of even Louisville. But we had softball size hail that came up. So,
Yeah, yeah, we've had some pretty decent hail events the past couple of years in the Midwest in general, and it has been it's been crazy up there from a hail perspective, and we're forecasting the risk for baseball sized hail up in northeast Iowa, southwest Wisconsin again this afternoon.
we'll wish those guys the best of luck, everybody up there. So we'll all hopefully God takes care of all of them. I'm not turning this into a religious show, but whatever you believe in, let's give them a little
Sure.
bit of hope and prayer that their private property, and well, I guess first them and then their private property doesn't get destroyed. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
but what else we got weather-wise going around, man? I had a gentleman out of North Carolina, Craig, that listens to us quite a
Sure.
bit here on Turfs Up Radio. Sent me a thing that was showing this. I didn't realize they were in such a crazy drought down there, where they needed like the southeast in general was just in a drought. What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's. I was looking this morning, Wayne, and a lot of the southeast, from the Carolinas through Georgia, and really the worst of it is southern Georgia and northern Florida. Extreme to exceptional drought conditions. That exceptional drought threshold is the worst that it can get. Looking at rain over the past 60 days, some of those areas are a half a foot or more behind on where they should be rainfall wise just over the past 60 days. And over the past 180 days, so the past 6 months, there are many spots in the Florida panhandle and then along the southeast coast, Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, into parts of North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, that are a foot of rain behind normal. And
Well,
so they have a ton of a deficit to make up here.
what's the prospects of them getting caught up a little bit in that region? Or is it,
Well, the
what's
next
it look like?
Yeah, the next 10 days, not much. They're really not going to see much in the way of precipitation. They may get some light chances, but nothing that's going to make any kind of a dent in what's going on. They stay actually, if anything, drier than normal, good bit drier than normal over the next 10 days. I do see down the road we start to get into a little bit of a pattern change. I expect the southeast part of the country starts to trend a bit wetter than normal. And that's related to the developing El Nino starting to get a little bit more of what we call a subtropical jet. But even with that, I'm going to be honest, it is going to take several months to several months of rain really to get out of the drought. When you get these drought conditions the way they are and how bad they are,
Yeah.
it is not a 1 week or a 2 week process of rain to relieve things. It is going to take a good amount of time. I think prospects are good that you can have at least more periods of rain over the next couple of months with the El Nino developing. Typically, it gets a little bit wetter in that part of the country when you get into an El Nino. But I do suspect that the core of the precipitation into summer ends up being more so in the southwestern U.S. So I'm really not sure that that is going to be completely knocked out until late this fall or even the upcoming winter.
Wow. So okay, so like Craig, who sent this to us, and then he sent me this thing where they're on water restrictions now in Charlotte, actually. You know, uh, I mean, this is something that's probably just going to be perpetuated longer, even.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably, again, I think some rains are in the forecast. It can help at least. It's not going to hurt, but it's just going to take several months to probably get back to where they need to be.
So what causes something like that to go on this long? I mean, is it some type, like you talk about blocking sometimes, like a
Sure.
high blocking. What causes something like that? Because it's obviously a little bit unusual,
Yeah,
especially
for
this
sure.
time of the year.
Yes, this time of the year is the time of the year where you should be getting better rains, especially down there. I went through and I looked and I had a suspicion and I wanted to verify it. But looking back in that part of the country, some of the years that had more severe drought conditions, 2002, 2011, 2012, those are all years that came off of multi-year La Ninas. And when you get into a La Nina, your jet stream is shifted more north. And so you tend to get more moisture in the Midwest. Hey, that's what's been happening throughout the spring. And you tend to get under the high pressure in the southeastern part of the country. And so I believe that this is a product of the multi-year La Nina that we've been in up until now. We're going into an El Nino now. And it's why I think that there's hope down the road. But this is definitely a direct result of the La Nina conditions that we've had over the past couple of years.
Now, is that the same reason that we're a little bit dry around here, or is that just something completely different for us here in?
It's definitely a product of it for sure. With La Ninas, the lower Ohio Valley tends to be in a little bit more of a battleground. When you get more, a more extreme southern or southeast ridge, you can get that sometimes, ridge of high pressure coming off of La Ninas. Sometimes it's weak enough or far enough south that the Ohio Valley gets good rain. Last year is a good example of it. It was very wet last year. Um, but this year it's set up just a bit further north, and it makes all the difference in the world in terms of for the Louisville area, Lower Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley. It makes all the difference in the world between a lot of rain and very little rain, and you can see that with just the gradient that's set up so far this month and really throughout the spring. If you look at Wisconsin, Michigan, Northern Illinois, Northern Indiana, they're running 4, 5, 6 inches wetter than normal the past 30 days, past 60 days, maybe more than 8 inches wetter than normal. But then you go down to Louisville and you're 3, 4, 5 inches less than normal. So there's a really, really stark divide right now. And that's a classic result of a La Nina.
How does this transcend over to the Northeast? What kind of shape those guys in?
Yeah, the Northeast is a little dry, but they're not as bad. It was a pretty cold winter up there. Certainly not nearly as persistently dry. And the other aspect of it is temperatures. They haven't been as persistently warm. And so the winter being a bit snowier, being a bit colder, has prevented the more widespread drought conditions from expanding up into the Northeast. There are certainly some spots that could still probably use some moisture, but it's not as dire as areas further southeast.
I got you. All right. So Craig and all of our comrades and our listeners that are down in North South Carolina, just plan on it still being dry, even though we're going to have a few shots of rain that may make it fill and get a little better short term, but long term, you think it's not going to be a big solution on the way?
No, I think that we really probably need to get through summer because here's the thing, you get into the summer months down there, and even with rain, it's still hot. So the summer months, you're normally, even if you're getting adequate rains, you're still actually losing some moisture due to evaporation. And so you really want a surplus of moisture this time of the year to set you up well for summer. And so I just think it's going to be challenging through the summer to see major improvements. I think it's going to have to be fall and into winter. And if you look at a year like 2002, that's probably the closest match from a drought perspective. It was a little bit further north that year, but there were extreme drought conditions in the Carolinas. It wasn't really until, let's see, more like October of that year that you really started to see those drought conditions fade away.
Okay. All right. And then what's it look like? What's it look like for our friends listening to us in St. Louis area? I know we got quite a few listeners out that way as well. You know, that's St. Louis and lower half of Illinois area and that part of the country as well. Are they a little dry too, or how? It seems like it's been running from like St. Louis and then up around 70. You know, Interstate
Yeah,
70 through you all.
that is, you were 100% right. I-70 is, we always joke around here, it's just kind of the dividing line. A lot of times it's the dividing line for snows up across Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. And this year it's been the dividing line for rain. So if you look along in north of I-70, it's been relatively active, and along in south of I-70, it's been not super active. And so St. Louis has had some stretches where they've been wetter and some stretches where they've been drier. So they could probably use a little moisture, but I think that for folks that are for agriculture trying to get out planting, they're not in bad enough conditions that I'd be, wanting the rain so much. I think that they're okay if they had a little bit of dry time to get some planting done.
I gotcha. All right. Well, I know I feel bad about, saying how nice our weather's been and us being able to get work done and all these other contractors and, so many parts of the country in the Midwest that just can't get anything accomplished. I hate to just sit on here and say, oh man, it's been a great week for us. It's like, I know they're thinking, shut the heck up, Wayne, but it seems like it's
Well,
always somebody that's catching the wrong side of whatever it is they want.
it's really difficult to keep everyone happy from a weather standpoint. It just is what it is. I will say though, Louisville, Southern Indiana, Kentucky, we are going to need some rain soon. Last 90 to 180 days, definitely running quite a bit drier than normal. So it would definitely be helpful to see some decent rains heading into May, leading up into summer. And I would say that there's a better opportunity for that. I think that with the pattern ahead, the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley, further northwest out of the southeast, I think that they may be in a little bit of a better position to see some rains into May. Won't be as warm either to help make up some of the deficit.
And it's a special request from a friend of mine out in
Sure.
Idaho, who's got a nice little lawn and landscape business out that way. How's it looking out there way toward Boise and that particular area? I saw where the Montana was getting a big snow, but other than that, what about that Boise and that what would that be, Northwest, I guess?
Yeah,
How are
yeah,
they doing? How
up into the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, they're pretty dry too, right now. So I would say next 5 days or so, not getting a whole lot, but similar to some of the other areas, I do think that there's opportunities, especially into May for Boise and especially the southern half of Idaho to get better rainfall, maybe even some snow in especially those higher elevation areas, even this time of the year. But I would anticipate that some of those drought conditions up there, especially as we go into summer, can start to fade away a bit.
Good deal. All right. Well, hey, last but not least, what do you think about tomorrow down here in Louisville, Southern Indiana for Thunder over Louisville? Our big air show. We going to get it
Yeah,
in, or is it going to? Should we watch from home?
Personally, for me, I plan on watching from home. I like to go down there for Thunder over Louisville, but it is going to be a very rainy day. I do see good news in terms of I really don't think the severe weather threat is all that impressive to me at all. I think that more widespread rain starts to work in by about 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you're going to be dealing with on and off rain throughout the majority of the day until about 8 to 9 o'clock.
Is it? I know.
So,
God, you made me cry yesterday when I got that video from you all on the updated timing, and I'm like, oh my God, it's coming in the morning now. I was like,
yeah,
oh, bad weather was taking care of us like always, But I mean, it's like, oh my God, now I'm not even going to go down and watch the air show.
yeah, the air show is probably going to be tough because I do think between 12 and 4 there can be some lightning issues, some thunder
Okay.
on thunder, if
Thunder
you
on
will.
thunder.
And again, it's just not going to be a good day to sit outside and watch the air show just because of the rain. And I know they've got drones too. So with the low cloud deck and the pesky rain around, that is probably going to be very challenging. It won't be terribly windy, but I do think in the evening you can have some wind gusts 20 to 25 miles an hour. So that from an air show perspective will be challenging as well. But from a firework perspective, I do think that most of the rain can push off to the south and to the east by the time we work towards about 8 or 9 o'clock. So we may get a little lucky. It's probably going to be damp. There's probably going to be some mist, but we may get lucky from a firework perspective in terms of when the more widespread rain works out.
All right, fair enough. Well, hey, you're just the bearer of the news. Don't shoot the messenger, right? Just
Yeah, for sure. Look,
plan accordingly.
I would have loved to take our daughter down there and watch the air show and the drones and the fireworks. I'm sure she would have loved that, but I think it's going to be a TV type of year.
All right, fair enough. I was going to say when your favorite weather person, tells you they're going to watch from home, I think I'm going to do the same thing and get me some popcorn and watch it on TV, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, it's so we I used to go down there all the time when I was little. Our parents would take us all the time, and
yeah,
it also got to the point there's so many people that for me, unless the weather is just perfect, I it's I've done it so many times now that I I'm not gonna brave the elements if the weather's not gonna be perfect.
I got you. Well, hey, I appreciate your extra time today, Brett. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
of
you,
course.
you know,
Yeah.
and as always, I appreciate everything you guys do at BAM Weather. And, for our listeners that are looking for a great weather source, reach out to BAM Weather at bamwx.com and let them know you heard it here on Turfs Up Radio. They got they got a discount code, just Wayne20, all caps, man,
Yep.
and save you a little money.
Yep, yep. And you can use that and sign up right in the platform as well, clarityWX.com/sign up. You can also download if you're just, somebody doing it for personal use too, you can just download it right in the App Store. So
Yeah, that's
a
cool. I
lot of
know
fun.
I know a couple people that actually use it personally with you guys too, and like it as well. So I know it really helps us, a great return on investment. So you guys out there, especially with spring and summer coming, and you got
Sure,
those scattered showers, and you're trying to figure out what a 30% chance means. Well, that's great to know that it's 30%, but what's the 30%? And what time, more
sure.
importantly. So uh, reach out to those guys. And like I said, they have a discount code that they've given me here on Turfs Up. So it's my name, Wayne, all caps 20, and check them out. And they're giving you a discount to it. So, Brett, thanks, man. And I appreciate all your input, and I appreciate you hopping on with us like you do.
Yep, of course. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Enjoy the fireworks from home.
Thank you. You too.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
Yeah,
Oh,
bye
my
bye.
goodness. All right. That was Brett Waltz with Bam Weather. Appreciate them hopping on, man. I mean, he hops on about, every other week or whenever I ask him, really, but I think it's cool to try to give some good regional weather forecast for all of our listeners here on Turfs Up Radio, and those guys do a great job at not selling advertising. I mean, they tell you what's going to happen and what they think's going to happen. And are they 100% all the time? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you, we've used different weather sources across the country, and these guys, since we've been with them, they've really done a great job with us at WLS. So uh, with that being said, now we'll take that break that we were going to take 22 minutes ago. We'll be right back with, whether you're a one truck operation or a multi crew company, we're all out there trying to do the same thing, and that's build a business for ourselves. Whether you're wanting to scale that business or just have a very successful one or two truck operation, that's good as well. And so that's the key. Just pick your lane, know what you're going to do, and do it as well as you can do it. It doesn't have to always be, hey, bigger, 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 because, bigger's not always better. So I just wanted to just talk about that side of it a minute because I was reading something the other day that somebody put out on social media about, you know, uh, I just feel like I'm in a rut, but I don't want to get bigger. Well, you don't have to get bigger to feel better and have a better company. I mean, that's just my 2 cents worth on it. You know, you can run a very, very successful, very profitable company and have it as a smaller company. But but just don't go on the side of, well, I'm a small company and, it doesn't matter that I do things this way, or this way. You know, um, whether you're the True Greens of the world or chucking a truck or anything in between, know that what you're doing is what a lot of people would like to do, and that's run and own and operate their own business. So do it the best way possible. So it's we've had in talking about that. I mean, sometimes it's can be a little bit frustrating for each and every one of us. I know, especially this time of the year when that's going on. But one topic that I did want to touch on today was um, insurance, and specifically work workman's compensation insurance. And do you have work comp insurance? Just flat out yes or no. No excuses. Just a yes or no answer is it. And before you respond, or you don't have to wait till you respond. You can respond now. I'm going to say what I'm going to say regardless of how anybody responds. And you guys know I appreciate each every one of y'all. I really do. But I just want to voice my opinion on this. And because very few times do I say something is wrong or right. You guys have heard me say a lot of times, and Daniel would tell you I say it all the time that, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? There's more than one methodology that will work most times. And no and or lack of workman's compensation insurance, you can say, well, I've never had an issue, so that, I don't have it. But the reality of it is you should have it. And if you don't, why not? I want you all to really rethink why you do not have it. Are you really wanting to take the risk of something happening and not being properly insured for that particular risk? I just don't get it. And I say, well, I'm a small company. It doesn't matter. I'm not worried about it. Well, it's one of those things. I'm going to tell y'all straight up. It doesn't matter until it matters. It doesn't matter until it matters. And that's what I really want you to run through your mind. You might say, well, I can't afford it, or, it's just me. I don't have to have it. Now you're making excuses. Well, I don't legally have to have it, so I don't have it. you know. But the reality of it is, you need to have your work comp. Just that simple. Mike says, I think most people don't have it because they don't pay themselves a salary or regularly. Well, they could still, Mike, they could still be insured. They could still be insured. And if they have any employees, maybe you elect to remove yourself, that's fine if you want to. If you want to remove yourself from the policy. But you should have it. If you've got one person helping you, you need to have the coverage. We had a guy tell us the other day, just yesterday, and that's what prompted this. And I'm not throwing rocks at him at all. I just thought, man, this is a great thing to talk about on Turf's Up Radio. And so much we're going to talk about it in a profit circle deeper than we're talking about it here as well. But the reality of it is, the comment that we had yesterday was, it's another $2,000 a year that I get nothing out of. What do you think of that, Daniel? It's another $2,000 a year I get nothing out of.
I guess it's just a perspective, and unfortunately that perspective leads to issues, potential issues. But, how do you, and so the question isn't, the statement really isn't, I get nothing out of it. Because we pay for a lot of things we get nothing
out of. Yeah, that's what's going to be my
whether
point.
It's within your business, within your personal life, you don't really get, like, if that's true, why do you wear Nike shoes instead of Walmart brand? Not this particular individual.
Right.
But why do you wear
just anybody?
Yeah. Why do you buy brand name versus non-brand name?
Yeah.
Why do you, go for the next level up vehicle instead of the one down when you're just using it to drive from one place to the other, or, anything? Like,
food.
It's not the same exact example, but it's the same sense of you're paying for something that you're really not getting, but you're fine paying for it.
Right.
And I think, too, a big problem is it's not that you are, I think it's indicative of bigger business issues, meaning if overall pretty much business protection for yourself or for, whatever, isn't worth $2,000 to you, it might actually mean that you don't feel secure enough in your business to spend $2,000.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to technically maybe have to spend it. So I'm not going to, but I'm using that as an excuse when the reality is I don't feel comfortable spending an extra $2,000 per year because I don't have my pricing down right, or I don't have blah, blah, blah down right.
Right. I think that's a very valid point. You've got bigger problems than the cost of that work comp, because the reality of it is, I mean, again, and I said it when we first started talking about this, but the reality of it is, you're right. It is an absolute waste of money until you need it. Until
but then again,
something
it's also
happens.
Not too, right? Like we talked about yesterday. Sorry, we can't give you this job because you don't have it. Is it a waste of money now?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this was somebody we were trying to sub some work to, and
to say you're not getting something out of it, what you're getting out of it is a box checked for a certain type of client.
Yes. Yes. And forget that it's us, because the comment back to us was, well, I work for bigger companies than you all as a subcontractor and they don't ask. Well, I don't care. I don't care what somebody else is doing. I'm not assuming the responsibility of you getting hurt on one of our jobs and then it coming back to us when you flip that lawnmower over on yourself and kill yourself, or cut your finger off, or cut your leg off, or one of your employees has an accident. I'm not wishing bad luck on you. I'm just saying I'm not going to assume that risk. Because at the end of the year, when we have our audit, we got to have certificates of insurance, or we pay for that amount on payroll. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So I just don't understand how somebody, not just this particular person. Again, I am not throwing rocks if you're listening to my show. I want this for I want this for everybody out there in Turfs Up Nation, if you will, you know, to understand that regardless of the size of your company, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family and you owe it to your customers to have the proper insurance.
I think it's just
You know?
small business mindset. Not small business, but small business mindset. This
Yes.
person or if you just like if you're okay running around being the person that will, be doing the same thing with no growth for the next X amount of years and you're always, kind of like that person you saw on social media, you feel like you're in a rut and you don't know why and you know, I can't figure out why I can't keep customers longer than, a couple of years or I can't figure out why I can't keep good help around or all these issues they they occur because you have a small mindset about your business.
Right.
One thing isn't what's killing you. It's not the workers' comp or whatever that is holding you back. It's that you have a small mindset about your business so you don't get workers' comp or you don't, you know, upgrade to a better uniform that makes you look nicer because you don't take as much pride in doing what you're doing as you should or you don't spend a little bit of money on advertising to help get you into a new area or whatever. It's all the small things that stem from, well, I'm just a small I'm just a small guy doing lawns.
I'm just a yeah,
I'm just a lawn
small
cutter.
mindset. I'm just a grass cutter. It goes back to something my dad used to say all the time, Daniel, and you've heard me say it, but he used to always say, if you take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and there is a lot of reality in that.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
if you don't, and
there's
along with that,
a
if you
lot
don't
of reality in
respect
that.
yourself, who else is going to respect you?
Yeah, if you don't care if you get hurt and you've got coverage, well, you might say, well, I've got coverage through my spouse's plan, or I got coverage through. Well, once they find out that was a work-related accident, you might not have the coverage that you think you might have. And let's just say it is something bad. You might initially get service, but what's the long-term uh, problem that's going to be solved if you did have the proper insurance for yourself? That's what we got to think about. So, uh, appreciate this, guys. David said, just following up with what you told me on to check on my cyber insurance as well. He said, I checked on it and it is included in my policy. That's something else that you guys need to be thinking about. There's a whole lot of cyber activity going on now. And, make sure that your agent who, hey, guess what? He got you cheaper. Oh, why are you buying from Brad Stewart? And I'm not picking on Brad. That's just who we use. So he's can get thrown under the bus. Well, why you go with Brad? He's way more expensive. Well, not when you look at types of coverages. That's why when it comes to your agent, make sure you've got coverages for what you need coverages for, because insurance is a whole lot like treating lawns. And you can get cheap by the type of chemicals you use treating lawns or the application rates that you use when you're treating a lawn. A lot of agents can get cheap based on the type or amount of coverage they're giving you or buying you. They're not giving it to you, that you're buying. Okay, so, oh, yeah, you need to work with this guy. He's cheaper than anybody I've worked with. Well, yeah, but is the coverage the same?
Right.
That's the thing.
The same people will get angry because they lose a bid for price, but then they'll go to the cheapest vendor for something.
Yeah.
And be unaware or not care what the quality of what they're buying is, but then they'll get mad that the consumer does the same thing.
Yeah. Well, it's just this or it's just that. It starts falling into it's just, and that's its own show topic. It's just, because how many different things can that be, filed into and put under? So, the reality of it is, And I think you made a really great point, Daniel. And it really is. You made a really great point that if you don't care about yourself first, that's where it really needs to start. That you've got bigger problems. You got bigger problems. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Fred says Murphy is a bee and it will find you. No, and that's reality. I mean, that is it. And again, I'm not wishing bad luck on you. Fred's not wishing bad luck on you. Daniel's not. Nobody's wishing bad luck on anybody that doesn't have their work comp or the right coverages. I'm just here to tell you that check into what the right coverages are, number one. But more importantly, don't say, well, I'm just an owner operator. I don't have to have work comp by law. It's got nothing to do with what the law is. It's got to do with what the best business decision for you and your family and your business is. You I was going to say the smaller you are, the more important it is. That's not true, but the more important it is at a personal level.
Right. Well, and then also, what is the true cost over a year plugged into, the know why you charge what you charge of having it?
Yeah.
What's the difference in your service price?
Yeah. Well, no, it's pennies. It's not even pennies. It's portions of a penny,
Yeah.
is what it amounts to. But it's somebody that they don't understand cost,
Right.
because when you take that cost and you spread it out over, like you said, know why you charge what you charge our spreadsheets, the reality of it is it literally is, it's pennies, but you don't understand that. You're just looking at the big picture of, hey, the $2,000 bill or the $5,000 bill or the $1,200, whatever it is, whatever that premium is what you look at it. Um, Mike makes a good point. You wouldn't work for an employer without it. So why would you expect to work for somebody else, or why would you expect somebody to work for you that doesn't have proper coverage? Especially when anytime, but I'm going to say especially when you're in a field where you're dealing with heavy equipment.
Right.
You're dealing with heavy equipment, you're dealing with hedge trimmers and chainsaws and string trimmers that are throwing things at hundreds of miles an hour. I mean, it's one accident is what it amounts to. And let me just say this, just you feel bad enough about something when something happens. And if it hasn't happened, great, but it will. Sooner or later, something will happen, percentage wise. Okay? Percentage wise, sooner or later, something's going to happen. And why do you want to be stuck out there? Now, I can hear some of you guys out there thinking, well, you know what, if I go 15 years and don't pay X number, let's just call it $1,000 a year. Just keep easy math, plug your own number in. Well, that's $15,000 I didn't spend, but I had to pay $2,000 to take somebody to the emergency room or immediate care to get some stitches. So I'm 13 ahead. That simple-minded, stupid thinking is what that is. When it comes to insurance, risk reward has got to match. And the risk you take on a daily basis, the reward of not paying a premium is not worth the risk. That's just it. Mike makes a great point. He says, don't cheat yourself. And that's basically what it boils down to. Seth, all it takes is that one time when you don't have it. That's it. And then that'd be, oh man, I didn't get it this year. I had it 5 years and now this year's the year something happens. That's my point exactly. When it happens, you're going to wish you had it. And the little bit of money that it cost, it's really not worth putting yourself through it. So again, if you're listening to me and you're the person that we had this conversation with yesterday. This is not directed at you at a negative connotation. This is directed to the whole industry to turn a light on, to say, hey, just because the law doesn't require it maybe for you in your state or whatever, doesn't mean that it's the best business decision that you can make. Hell, none of us would buy fuel if we didn't have to buy fuel, but we don't buy insurance because we don't have to have it in our mind. And that, my friends, is where the confusion begins. You know, I told a lady the other day, and I tell most all of our potential clients this: be sure to get a certificate of insurance for both general liability and workman's comp from whomever you hire. It doesn't have to be us. And I do this at the residential and commercial level. You know, I don't care who you hire. Hey, hopefully it's us. But if you don't, be sure to get a certificate of insurance from whomever you hire for both general liability and work comp. And young lady, Katie, her name was Katrina. Isn't that funny? And so, yeah. So Katrina told me, she said, you know what, Wayne? Our HOA didn't even think about that. I said, well, that's what I'm here for. That's what you hired a professional, or that's what you called a professional service. She said, you know, all the years we've been having contractors, we've never once got a certificate of insurance, and we've never even thought about asking for it. She said, I don't know that we're going to hire you guys, but moving forward, we'll certainly have a certificate of insurance from whoever we hire. And that's the message that I want out there today. I'm not trying to increase job cost for anybody. I'm just trying to help you be more successful and more profitable and have the risk management in place that's going to help your business stay in business if something does happen. And I mean, I don't want karma to come around on you, but I'm just saying chances are that it might. In the event that it might, be sure that you're protected. Don't opt out just because you can opt out. Ask your family, ask your kids if you've got them. Hey, if dad gets hurt or if mom gets hurt and they're not able to work, do you still want to play volleyball, baseball, basketball, travel, whatever? Do you still want to go on vacations? Or would you rather us just sit here because dad or mom was too cheap to buy an insurance policy that would take care of the problem that may occur at work? If you're not smart enough to think about it, let an 8-year-old make the decision for you. But don't put the question out there, hey, would you want dad or mom to buy insurance, or do you want to go on vacation? That's not a fair. They can't make that value judgment. But they can make a value judgment on if they want their mom and dad to be okay. And that's what it's really all about. I'm not trying to turn this into a freak show. I'm just saying, take the time to insure yourself, insure your employees properly, and don't say, what are you talking about, man? It's just $2,000 a year. I don't get anything out of. You're better than that. You deserve better than that. Our industry deserves better than that. And until we all see it through the same lens, we're still going to be the lawn guy. And I don't want to be the lawn guy. You don't deserve to be the lawn guy. We're professional business owners providing a professional service. And until we treat ourselves as such, you're still going to be worried about spending $2,000 or $1,000 or $5,000. Got to be a mind change. And until you have your mind change, you're going to keep making stupid choices. On that note, it's your decision to make. Yours meaning not you individually that brought this up for us, but you as the business owner listening to me right now on, do you want to have yourself insured properly, or do you want to save a few dollars until it really matters? Have a great weekend. Appreciate you guys. Stay tuned all day long to Turfs Up Radio. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you Monday.